putting the rest, one of the West Coast younger pioneers of the rap game, All Money In crew, Faso. So definitely gone and never forgotten for this person or this gentleman who was shot and killed there on 59th and West Boulevard. Some conflicting issues in the story, but apparently he was in front of the, location and some cars, or one or two or more cars came by, shooting multiple bullets, striking him, in which he died there at the scene there on 59th. Day, there's no one found actually for that homicide itself.
Rolling 60s was there when Big U's son were killed.
Big U kicks it with the grid Crips. See, y'all probably thinking I'm trying to just exposing niggas to say that nothing's going to happen. Big U's team already has been exposed.
Halloween night, South LA, October 31st, 2025, began like any other Halloween night in South Los Angeles. The streets of the Vermont Slauson neighborhood were buzzing with families, kids in costumes, and the low hum of holiday activity. Candy bowls lined doorsteps, jack-o'-lanterns flickered with candlelight, and the usual LA night noises, the distant hum of traffic, sirens in the distance, and occasional laughter, mixed into the air. Yet for Jabari Henley, known to many as Baby Huey, the night would not end with candy and laughter. The 34-year-old son of Eugene Big U Henley, a man known both for his role in the music industry and his alleged gang leadership of the Rollin' 60s Crips, stepped out into the night, unaware that this Halloween would mark the final chapter of his life. Jabari had been spending the evening quietly, checking in with family, and making sure his music plans and personal business were in order. He was set to release a track in collaboration with Hoodrich Pablo Juan and Kenny Beats. But around 11:03 p.m., Jabari approached a smoke shop at the intersection of 69th Street and Figueroa Boulevard, a location known locally for its visibility and foot traffic. This was the last place he would ever walk freely.
Hey, all you Grid Crips was up there popping it for Big U. Y'all was riding down for Big U. Now his son got killed. Nigga, why you ain't sliding, bro? All you up there popping it, man. All you Grid Crips was popping it, man. Big U was out here. Now his son get killed. Big U can't slide. So what y'all gonna do? Big U kicks it with the Grid Crips. Y'all know what the Grid is? The GRYD. These are facts. That's his non-profit organization that's funded by the LAPD. So all those broke Crips that y'all see hanging up there, Big U gave them all a contract, gave them all phones, and they're getting paid by the LAPD. They're busters. They're not even really considered Crips no more. So that's why I'm joking with him saying, oh, the Grid not gonna slide? Because that's who Jabari was up there with. He's FaceTiming. Yeah, I mean, what else am I doing? Ain't nothing gonna happen, bro. His whole team is Grid workers. Jabari FaceTiming me from the Grid on Crenshaw and Slauson. His brother works for the Grid. Every nigga hanging on Crenshaw and Slauson in that parking lot works for the Grid. Them niggas is police. The whole hood know this. So I'm not saying the homies, the 60s ain't going, because that's not their responsibility. That's them Grid niggas. You feel me? To go put in work for that nigga? It's all the Grid niggas they was with. That whole Grid, that's that whole shit. So I'm trolling, clowning niggas like, oh.
Norma Eisman, a spokesperson for the Los Angeles Police Department, later described the sequence of events as precise and swift. Jabari walked calmly toward a vehicle parked near the smoke shop. It appeared to neighbors that he knew the vehicle or its occupants, though this has yet to be confirmed. Suddenly, gunfire erupted from inside the vehicle. Multiple rounds struck Jabari. Within moments, the suspects fled, leaving the scene eerily quiet. Paramedics and firefighters arrived to find Jabari lifeless, lying stretched out on the sidewalk. Who was Jabari Henley? To truly grasp the magnitude of this loss, one must first understand who Jabari Henley was, not merely as the son of Big U, but as a distinct individual whose life, ambitions, and character left an imprint on everyone who knew him. Jabari's upbringing was a study in contrasts, a world brimming with opportunity and creativity on one side and danger and scrutiny on the other. His father, Eugene Henley, better known as Big U, had forged a notable legacy in the music industry. As the founder of Big U Enterprise, Big U managed high-profile artists like Nipsey Hussle and helped shape the Los Angeles rap scene. But alongside that legitimate influence, Big U was also alleged to be a long-standing leader of the Rollin' 60s Crips, a gang entrenched in South LA, known for internal strife, rivalries, and cycles of violent retaliation. Growing up in that environment, Jabari experienced both the benefits of his father's prominence and the weight of its dangers. Jabari himself was multifaceted, a talented musician, a gifted athlete, and a young man who exuded a natural charisma. On the football field, he was a linebacker at Crenshaw High School, where he left a lasting impression on his coaches and teammates alike. Robert Garrett, his coach, described Jabari as positive, fun, and hard-working, a pleasure to have both on and off the field. He brought the same dedication and energy to his music, collaborating with emerging artists in Los Angeles, contributing his own creative vision, and making his mark in a competitive, often unforgiving industry. Even as he carved his own path, Jabari's life was inevitably shaped by the shadow of his father's notoriety. Alleged gang affiliations, federal investigations, and past violent incidents linked to Big U often put Jabari in the crosshairs, whether he sought that life or not. Friends and those close to him remember him as cautious yet confident, acutely aware of the dangers surrounding him, but resolute in not allowing fear to define his choices or limit his ambitions. The loss of Jabari resonated not only within his immediate family, but across the communities he touched. His younger brother, Deion Henley, now a linebacker for the Los Angeles Chargers, would later pay tribute to Jabari.
Chargers linebacker Deion Henley playing with a heavy heart today after his brother was shot and killed in South LA. The 34-year-old was killed Halloween night. Both men are sons of music executive Eugene Henley, better known as Big U, who's an accused leader of the Crips gang now facing federal charges. Police say Jabari died near Figueroa and 69th Street. Investigators say someone inside a car opened fire, then drove off. There is an investigation now underway.
I just wanted to talk to my brother one more time. It was just an emotional moment for me just to be able to make a play on a day like this, just losing him so soon. So I had to just send a prayer up and just hopefully he heard it and just get one out there. Since I got the news, my brothers was there. I went through it. It was a long day for me. And everybody showed up. Coach Harbaugh showed up. Jesse Mitchell showed up. And every single one of my teammates showed up. And that's why I was out there today and able to do what I did. It was just because I had a lot of support and I knew that I wasn't going to let
Navigating the challenges of a life that balanced creativity, family, and peril. In remembering Jabari Henley, it's clear that he was far more than a son of someone famous or infamous. He was a son, a brother, a friend, an athlete, a musician, and a young man whose life, however brief, left an undeniable mark on those around him. The shooting and immediate response. The scene of the shooting quickly descended into chaos. Eyewitnesses described a moment that unfolded in seconds, yet left a lasting impression on the neighborhood. One local resident recounted the moment vividly. "I saw him walking toward that car. He wasn't running, wasn't panicked. He just walked like he knew who was inside. And then the shots. So fast. So many. And then nothing." Another neighbor described the panic and confusion that followed. "I saw the flash from the gunfire and then him on the sidewalk. People screamed, cars skidded. The whole block froze. It was just silence after that." By the time firefighters and paramedics arrived, Jabari Henley had already succumbed to his injuries. Emergency personnel placed a white tarp over his body as investigators began canvassing the area, speaking with witnesses and collecting evidence. No immediate description of the vehicle or the suspects was released, though early reports mentioned the possible presence of a Halloween mask on one of the shooters, adding a chilling note to the violence. Law enforcement quickly noted that Eugene Henley's alleged gang affiliations were a significant aspect of the investigation. Authorities, however, remained cautious, refraining from speculating on motive or target. Was the attack an act of retaliation, a dispute linked to the music industry, or a purely gang-related confrontation? At the time, the investigation remained fluid and complicated, challenged by conflicting eyewitness accounts, rampant social media speculation, and the complex web of connections surrounding the Henley family. As the block slowly returned to a tense quiet, residents were left grappling with the shock of sudden violence, the image of a young man taken too soon, and the unanswered questions that would linger long after the sirens faded. Within hours, news of Jabari Henley's death reverberated across South LA, flooding social media platforms and local news outlets. Friends, fans, and members of the community shared their grief, posting tributes that conveyed disbelief, sorrow, and a sense of collective loss. On X, formerly Twitter, one fan wrote simply, "R.I.P. Baby Huey, gone too soon. We lost a star and a good soul tonight." The Henley family faced the immense challenge of mourning publicly while under intense media scrutiny. Their grief was not private. It was scrutinized, dissected, and broadcast for the world to see. Yet even in their sorrow, they sought to honor Jabari's life, his passions, and the moments that defined him. For his younger brother, Dion Henley, the loss became a deeply personal moment played out on the football field. While playing a game for the LA Chargers, Dion dedicated a play to Jabari, taking a knee in silent tribute. Teammates, fans, and the wider community witnessed the gesture, understanding that it reflected far more than a sports moment. It was a testament to love, loss, and remembrance. The tragedy sparked broader conversations about the risks facing young men in South LA, particularly those connected to families with gang histories. For many, Jabari symbolized the intersection of music, family, and street culture. A young man full of promise, whose talents and potential were abruptly cut short. His death became a somber reminder of how legacy, loyalty, and circumstance can collide with violence, leaving communities grappling with grief, fear, and questions of how to protect the next generation. In the days that followed, murals, social media posts, and community vigils emerged, painting a picture of a young life remembered not only for its tragic end, but for the vitality, creativity, and humanity that Jabari brought to the world. Though gone, his presence lingered in the hearts of those who knew him, and in the neighborhood that had watched him grow. Complicating factors: the role of the Grid Crips. An additional layer of complexity emerged with the involvement of the Grid Crips, a nonprofit gang reduction program funded by the LAPD and federal authorities. Designed to mediate conflicts and reduce street violence, the program relied on members embedded within the same neighborhoods and communities where gang activity persisted. However, according to 600, a member of the Rollin' 60s, the Grid Crips were present in the area during the shooting, but did not intervene, despite receiving mass text alerts that warned them of the incident almost immediately. They got the text first, faster than any ambulance or police. But they didn't do anything. Jabari walked up to that car, maybe knowing who was inside, but still, nothing, 600 said, reflecting a mix of frustration and disbelief.
Big U kicks it with the Grid Crips. See, y'all probably thinking I'm trying to like just expose the niggas to say that nothing's going to happen. Big U's team already has been exposed.
The incident raised difficult questions about loyalty, accountability, and the complicated relationship between community programs, law enforcement, and entrenched gang networks. To some in the neighborhood, the Grid Crips' inaction felt like a betrayal, a missed opportunity to prevent violence. To others, it underscored the intricate dynamics of a group straddling two worlds, officially sanctioned and funded by authorities, yet rooted in the same street culture that often perpetuates cycles of conflict. The situation highlighted the tension inherent in such programs. How do individuals embedded in these communities navigate the dual expectations of public service and street loyalty? The answer is rarely simple, and the events surrounding Jabari's death demonstrated how even well-intentioned interventions can be hampered by the realities of trust, reputation, and the fragile lines that define life in neighborhoods shadowed by both opportunity and danger. To fully grasp the significance of Jabari Henley's death, it is essential to understand the historical and social context of gang activity in South LA, as well as the legacy of the Henley family. Eugene Henley, known as Big U, has been implicated in multiple violent incidents over the years. One high-profile case involves the 2021 murder of rapper Ryan Williams in Las Vegas. Prosecutors allege that Williams, a young artist under Big U's label, was targeted in retaliation for a song perceived as disrespectful. A stark example of how artistic disputes and street codes can intersect with deadly consequences. The Henley family's history is interwoven with patterns of intra-gang conflict and retribution. Unresolved murders, including those of individuals known as Fats and Stephen Donaldson, illustrate the recurring cycles of violence that have plagued the rolling 60s and surrounding networks. Observers have noted a brutal logic. Often killings occur within the same gang affiliations, reinforcing a culture of vengeance and loyalty enforced through fear. 60s killing 60s, as some say, highlights a code of silence that frequently prevents accountability and perpetuates generational trauma. Neighbors who witnessed the shooting painted a vivid, unsettling picture of the events as they unfolded. One resident recounted, "He just walked up to the car. I thought he knew them. Then the shots. It was over in seconds. Firefighters put a tarp over him. A poster nearby said, 'Don't come to LA.' Spooky as hell." The eerie poster, positioned just a few feet from where Jabari lay, added a layer of foreboding to the scene. For some, it seemed like a chilling coincidence. For others, a deliberate warning. Its presence underscored the pervasive sense of danger in certain parts of Los Angeles, where violence and threats are a part of daily life, and where even casual observers can sense the tension embedded in the city's streets. Combined, these elements, the Henley family's history, the cycles of intra-gang retribution, and the haunting details of the crime scene, paint a picture of a life lost at the intersection of talent, ambition, and a community shaped by both resilience and violence. Jabari's death cannot be viewed in isolation. It is part of a larger narrative of systemic challenges, generational conflict, and the fragile line between legacy and tragedy in South LA. The ripple effects of Jabari Henley's death were immediate, sending shockwaves through South LA and beyond. Roughly 90 minutes after the fatal shooting, another violent incident erupted in the Westmont area, leaving 3 people injured. Witnesses reported seeing a white Tesla fleeing the scene, a detail that added to the confusion and speculation surrounding the attack. While authorities have not officially connected the Westmont shooting to Jabari's death, social media erupted with rumors suggesting retaliation, gang involvement, or a broader cycle of vengeance. In neighborhoods like South LA, the speed at which information and misinformation travels is staggering. Online forums, group chats, and social media platforms became inundated with theories. Some claimed the Westmont shooting was a direct retaliation. Others speculated it was entirely unrelated, the result of local disputes or long-standing feuds. The ambiguity heightened fear across communities already on edge from Jabari's death. Residents described looking over their shoulders, whispering about who might be next, and debating the credibility of every rumor they heard. O.G. Gumby, a member of the Hoover gang, offered clarification in an interview, highlighting the challenges of understanding LA's street dynamics. The area of 69th and Figueroa? That's not Hoover territory. That's more associated with local pimping activity. People always want to blame the Hoovers for everything, but it's more complicated than that. His statement underscores a pervasive problem in Los Angeles. Misattribution of blame is common. Certain gangs, like the Hoovers, are often used as convenient scapegoats for violence, regardless of actual involvement. This pattern can escalate tensions unnecessarily, misinform the public, and complicate police investigations. The Westmont shooting illustrated not just the physical dangers that ripple out from a single act of violence, but also the social and cultural confusion that arises in a city where allegiances, history, and territory are constantly shifting. For residents, the immediate aftermath of Jabari's death became more than grief. it became a period of anxiety and uncertainty. Families wondered whether violence might continue. Neighbors speculated on connections between incidents, and the city's youth absorbed the brutal lesson that danger could strike at any time and in any place. If you want, I can also format this into a clean, publication-ready article with headings, pull quotes, and readable spacing while keeping every single word intact. It would look like a professional feature story.
Chargers linebacker Deion Henley playing with a heavy heart today after his brother, the 34-year-old, was killed Halloween night. Both men are sons of music executive Eugene Henley, better known as Big U, who's an accused leader of the Crips gang, now facing federal charges. Police say Jabari died near Figueroa and 69th Street. Investigators say someone inside a car opened fire, then drove off. There is an investigation now underway.
I just wanted to talk to my brother one more time. It was just an emotional moment for me just to be able to make a play on a day like this, just losing him so soon. So I had to just send a prayer up and just hopefully he heard it and just get one out there. Since I got the news, my brothers was there. I went through it. It was a long day for me, and everybody showed up. Coach Harbaugh showed up, Jesse Mitchell showed up, and every single one of my teammates showed up. And that's why I was out there today and able to do what I did. It was just because I had a lot of support, and I knew that I wasn't going to let them down.
Man accused of being a longtime leader of the Rolling 60s Crips gang, Eugene Henley Jr. has become known in recent years for his charity work to reduce gang violence. Now the FBI is accusing him of running a criminal enterprise that committed a series of crimes, including a murder back in 2021. NBC4's Alex Rozier live with details you see for the first time and only on 4. Alex.
Michael, Big U is in federal custody right now. Prosecutors say they have probable cause to believe that he killed a man in Las Vegas in 2021, then dragged his body into the desert. Today I learned the man killed is closely connected to Big U's family.
When did you ever really learn how to play the drum?
Eugene Henley Jr.'s podcast, seen here on YouTube, is one of many ways he made his name.
It's season 2 of Checking In.
Henley Jr., known as Big U, interviewed celebrities.
The big homie. Yes, sir.
And he's run a charity and music label. But the feds say he's also a longtime leader of the Rolling 60s Crips street gang. And now he's in custody for racketeering crimes that include the murder of rapper Rayshawn Williams. Court papers say Williams, seen here on Instagram, was an artist for Big U's label Unique Music. And in 2021, prosecutors say Williams wrote a song, quote, dissing Big U. Documents say Big U then kidnapped and murdered Williams in Las Vegas in retaliation for perceived disrespect. But before Williams was a rapper, he was a wide receiver for Crenshaw High School. The day after he was killed, the football program announced his death in this post on Instagram, saying in part, quote, he was a special guy to all of us. And not only did he play for Crenshaw, the wide receiver was teammates with Big U's son, Deion Henley. This LA Times video shows Henley throwing a pass to Williams. Deion Henley is now a linebacker for the LA Chargers. In 2023, the Times wrote a story about him with the headline, conceived in prison, Deion Henley was born into the dangerous world of his dad, who put him on a path to the NFL. Deion's quoted in the article saying, it's one heck of an origin story, adding, you know how they talk about anti-heroes? The people who are the bad guys, but they really aren't? That's my dad. But now his dad, Big U, is back in custody. And the feds say he's connected to a number of crimes, including the murder of his son's high school teammate, Rayshawn Williams.
Yeah, so basically, let's get this straight. So, Nip had an altercation with him in the studio or whatever. Big U was like, "Is this song about me?" He was like, "Yeah, it's about you, cuz." So Big U threw the water bottle at him, right? So he was like, we're gonna have to go downstairs and get down, right? So they in the middle of the street, and Nip kept just bouncing around. You get what I'm saying? Not trying to get hit or whatever, trying to fire on him. So he was like, all right, cuz.
He's supposed to make a diss song about me. Well, I ain't no rapper, I'm a scrapper.
Big U went out there like he was about to mail in the victory. He just knew he had that one. Dead homies. Bro, went out there stretching on that old MMA, mixed martial arts stuff. But that, it only work in the mirror. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Ask anybody, ask the front hoods. Man, Nip maxed this dude out. Walked him up out of there until Bear Claw say, bro, you don't need to be fighting this young dude. Tiny Draws, get out there. Nip gave him what he wanted also.
We end up having to come talk about that. Pull up the homies, and Nip admit it's wrong, but still there's some consequences to your wrong. I came to pick him up that morning so he can get his discipline. And his brother got in the way. Talking about my brother not going nowhere. If I was his brother, I'd have did the same thing. Like, you're not going nowhere with it. I would have did the same. But I mean, you're not from Sixties though. And you're not from the hood, so, you can't really speak on your business.
So the next day, TD and them came and he was just doing some book or whatever like that. So they try to come, Big U tell Nip, get in the car, you gonna go on Brianhurst and you gonna get in, right? Black Sim like, you ain't taking my brother nowhere. You get what I'm saying? And he tried to pull him out the car. When he tried to pull him out the car or whatever like that, Nip looked over and he's like, listen, long as you don't, we good. So he was like, nah. So Fats, right? My homie Fats.
You talking about another situation.
I'm talking about the same situation.
The situation this happened when Black Sam bust in the air.
No, he did bust in the air, but Big U tried to fire on Fats.
Fats put him on his pockets.
And then Fats put him on his pockets.
I got a call on that one.
The Henley family story cannot be separated from Eugene Henley, widely known as Big U, whose public persona as a music executive and community figure exists alongside a shadowed reputation intertwined with alleged criminal activity. Big U currently faces a labyrinth of federal charges, including 43 counts related to racketeering, extortion, fraud, human trafficking, and his alleged involvement in the 2021 murder of rapper Ryan Williams. Prosecutors claim Williams, a young artist signed under Big U's label, was killed in retaliation for a song deemed disrespectful, a stark example of how conflicts in the music world can overlap with street violence and long-standing gang codes. Despite these allegations, Big U maintains a public image as a mentor and guide for young artists, positioning himself as a figure of influence and opportunity in communities often overlooked by traditional avenues of success. His dual identity, as both alleged gang leader and legitimate music executive, creates a precarious environment for his family. Children like Jabari grow up navigating a complicated reality where public visibility intersects with private danger and where loyalty, legacy, and reputation shape choices in unpredictable ways. For Jabari, this environment was both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, he had access to resources, mentorship, and a pathway into the music world that many could only dream of. On the other, the family name carried a weight of expectation, scrutiny, and risk. Friends noted that Jabari understood the hazards, yet he refused to let them define him. He pursued music and athletics with dedication, collaborating with peers, refining his craft, and asserting a sense of identity distinct from his father's shadow. The Henley family legacy also illustrates a broader, systemic reality in South LA. The intersections of family, gang affiliation, and socioeconomic environment are rarely simple. Loyalty is paramount, reputation can dictate life or death, and generational cycles of violence often leave communities struggling to protect the young. Jabari's death exemplifies this harsh truth. While individual actions may spark a particular incident, the broader context, the historical patterns of retaliation, the pervasive presence of gangs, and the structural vulnerabilities of the community frames why and how tragedy unfolds. Moreover, the legal pressures on Big U add another layer of tension. Federal indictments, ongoing investigations, and public scrutiny place the entire family under a magnifying glass. Every decision, every movement is examined through the dual lens of law enforcement and street perception. For Jabari and his siblings, navigating adolescence and early adulthood in this environment required a constant balance of caution, ambition, and awareness. Ultimately, the Henley family story is not only about the life and loss of one young man. It is a lens into how legacies, both legitimate and illicit, shape the lives of those connected to them. It is about ambition and creativity under pressure, the collision of street codes and family loyalty, and the vulnerabilities that emerge when public influence and private danger coexist. Jabari's death was a tragic inflection point in a narrative defined by complex social dynamics, generational cycles, and the unpredictable intersections of violence, music, and family reputation. Hour by hour, the night folds. 11 p.m., Jabari approaches the smoke shop. As the clock approached 11 p.m., Jabari Henley made his way down Figueroa Boulevard. The night air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of autumn leaves and the lingering aroma of street food. Halloween decorations swayed in the gentle wind, their shadows dancing across storefronts and parked cars, lending a surreal atmosphere to the otherwise quiet street. Jabari walked with purpose, yet his movements radiated calm confidence. He seemed relaxed, almost impervious to the potential dangers surrounding him. Neighbors watching from porches and windows saw him approach a vehicle parked near the local smoke shop. One resident recalled, "I didn't know him personally, but he didn't look scared. He looked like he belonged there, like he knew he had to go up to that car." And then the shots rang out. It was terrifying. The detail that Jabari appeared to recognize someone in the vehicle fueled speculation. Was he responding to a call or expecting someone he knew? Eyewitness accounts suggested that at least one of the shooters wore a mask, and multiple sources indicated there may have been more than one person inside the car, heightening the premeditated nature of the attack. 11:03 p.m., the shooting. The first round struck Jabari almost immediately, a barrage of bullets that signaled deliberate intent rather than an impulsive altercation. Residents described the rapid succession of shots as terrifying and disorienting. Jabari fell on the sidewalk, his body illuminated by the glow of streetlights, while the assailants fled the scene in seconds. Firefighters arriving moments later described a chilling tableau. He was laid out completely on the sidewalk, covered with a tarp, but you could tell he was gone. The neighborhood was silent except for people crying and screaming. Nearby, a poster with the ominous words, "Don't come to LA," loomed over the scene. Whether coincidental or intentional, its presence added a layer of foreboding, a grim reminder of the city's harsh realities and the constant specter of violence in certain neighborhoods. 11:15 p.m., community reaction. Within minutes, the news spread across the block and onto social media. Neighbors began posting videos of the aftermath, showing paramedics covering Jabari with a tarp, while others filmed the streetlights glinting off the shattered calm of the neighborhood. Tributes appeared almost immediately on X, formerly Twitter. "Rest in power, Baby Huey. Gone too soon. LA lost another young star tonight." Speculation about the motive proliferated. Was the shooting gang-related, a personal dispute, or linked to the music industry? Authorities continued canvassing the area, collecting surveillance footage from nearby businesses and speaking with witnesses, but answers remained elusive. 11:30 p.m., law enforcement arrives. The LAPD arrived en masse, blocking streets and initiating a thorough investigation. Investigators, including Norma Eisman, emphasized that the victim's connection to Big U was a key factor. The victim is the son of Eugene Henley, known as Big U, who has documented gang affiliations. This is one angle we are pursuing, but we are considering all possibilities. Police acknowledged the potential gang-related component, but remained careful not to draw conclusions prematurely. 11:45 p.m., the Grid Crips roll. Adding complexity to the night, 600, a member of the Rollin' 60s, claimed that the Grid Crips, a city-funded nonprofit gang reduction program, were in the vicinity but failed to intervene. Despite receiving mass text alerts immediately following the shooting, no action was taken. They got the text faster than any ambulance or cop, but they didn't do anything. They were right there, and still nothing. This sparked debate about loyalty, accountability, and the blurred boundaries between sanctioned community programs and traditional gang structures. Many in the community questioned the efficacy of these programs when lives were at stake, while others recognized the inherent conflict of navigating street credibility while operating under city oversight. Midnight. Viral spread and social media. By midnight, footage of the shooting and its aftermath had spread rapidly online. Fans, local artists, and community members shared tributes and personal memories. On Instagram, TikTok, and X, messages poured in. Baby Huey walked up to that car thinking it was safe. R.I.P. to a legend before his time. Discussion of motive intensified. Some theorized retaliation, others suspected disputes within the music industry, and some pointed to gang-related dynamics. The uncertainty created a tense atmosphere across South LA. 12:30 a.m., Westmont shooting incident. Approximately 90 minutes after Jabari's death, another shooting occurred in Westmont, leaving 3 people injured. A white Tesla was reportedly seen fleeing the scene. While authorities have not officially connected the Westmont shooting to Jabari's death, social media speculation ran rampant. OG Gumby, a member of the Hoover gang, offered clarification. The 69th and Figueroa area isn't Hoover territory. That area is known for pimping and other activity, not gang turf. People love blaming us for everything in LA, but that's not how it went down. This statement highlighted a recurring issue in Los Angeles: misattribution of violence based on assumptions about neighborhoods rather than verified intelligence, contributing to confusion and escalating tension. Eugene Big U Henley, facing federal charges related to racketeering, fraud, extortion, and murder, publicly mourned his son. Friends, fans, and collaborators expressed grief across social media, while the Henley family had to navigate intense public scrutiny. Dion Henley, reflecting on his loss, said, "It was just emotional. I wanted to talk to my brother one more time. Losing him so soon, it hit hard. But I had a lot of support from teammates in my community, and I knew I had to honor him." The gestures of mourning, kneeling on the football field, social media tributes, and community vigils reflected a collective sense of loss that extended beyond the family to friends, neighbors, and fans. Historical context: gang violence and retaliation. Jabari's death fits a broader pattern of violence in South LA. Over the past 2 decades, the Rollin' 60s Crips and associated groups have been involved in numerous conflicts, resulting in the deaths of artists and community members. Nipsey Hussle's circle, including associates like Fats, experienced similar tragedies, illustrating a recurring theme of intra-gang and music-related violence. Big U himself has been implicated in the 2021 Las Vegas murder of Ryan Williams, allegedly connected to perceived disrespect over a song. The intersection of music, personal honor, and street culture created a precarious environment where young men like Jabari were uniquely vulnerable. Witness accounts, detailed observations. Multiple residents offered detailed recollections of the shooting. A woman across the street observed Jabari walking toward the vehicle with calm confidence. He wasn't scared. He seemed to know who he was dealing with. Then there was a flash, a pop, and he fell. Everything happened so fast. Another neighbor noted, "I couldn't tell how many people were in the car, but at least one had a mask. It looked planned, not random." Paramedics confirmed the fatality and covered Jabari with a tarp, while neighbors gathered in shock and grief, struggling to reconcile the sudden violence with the quiet of their street just moments before. Music industry impact. Jabari's death reverberated through Los Angeles music scene. A rising talent, he had collaborated with artists like Hood Rich Pablo Juan and Kenny Beats, and was poised to make a mark as a musician and creative force. Former collaborators of Nipsey Hussle and affiliates of Big U Enterprise expressed shock and sadness. Tributes poured in from peers, fans, and community members, mourning not only the son of a prominent figure, but a young artist whose creativity, energy, and promise had been cut tragically short. For many in the music world, Jabari's death served as a stark reminder of how closely intertwined ambition and danger can be in communities shaped by both culture and conflict. There are many lessons we can learn from this story. The story of Eugene Big U Henley, his son Jabari Baby Wee Henley, and the tragic events surrounding their family. It is a story filled with tragedy, human complexity, legal intricacies, cultural considerations, and the weight of legacy. While some may focus on the sensational elements, gang affiliations, federal charges, or violent incidents, there are deeper lessons about life, choices, family, and humanity that emerge when we look carefully. Let's break them down, lesson by lesson. First lesson: life and consequences are intertwined. One of the most immediate lessons from Big U's story is the inescapable link between our actions and their consequences. Big U, whether rightfully or wrongfully accused, has a past filled with allegations of gang leadership, criminal activity, and involvement in a wide range of serious offenses. These allegations and his long-standing reputation create a cascade of effects, not just for him personally, but for everyone around him. The tragic death of his son Jabari illustrates how consequences can extend far beyond the person making the choices. Even though Jabari himself may not have been directly involved in criminal activity, he became indirectly impacted by the environment surrounding him. The ripple effect of one person's decisions can touch the lives of those closest to them in ways that are irreversible. This is a reminder that our choices, whether in career, personal life, or moral decisions, carry weight. They influence not only our trajectory, but also the well-being of those we love. Second lesson: personal tragedy can be amplified by circumstances. Grief is one of the most universal human experiences, yet it can be magnified by external circumstances. In Big U's case, the inability to attend his son's funeral adds an extraordinary layer of pain. Losing a child is, for any parent, an unimaginable tragedy. But when the legal system, public scrutiny, and alleged past behavior prevent a father from participating in the final rites, that grief is intensified. This shows us that life often compounds suffering with obstacles, and tragedy rarely comes in isolation. It reminds us to have compassion for others, because we rarely know the full context of their struggles. The lesson here is that hardship is multidimensional, and sometimes the environment we create through our actions can intensify the pain of personal loss. Third lesson: legal systems prioritize public safety over individual desire. Another crucial lesson is the role of the justice system in balancing human compassion against public safety. The court's decision to deny Big U temporary release to attend his son's funeral, citing him as a danger to the public and witnesses, highlights the legal principle that individual desires may be subordinated to societal safety. Even in moments of profound human suffering, the law often cannot bend fully to personal grief. While some may view the court's decision as harsh or lacking empathy, it demonstrates the difficult balancing act inherent in justice systems, protecting the community while attempting to preserve basic human dignity. This teaches us that fairness and justice often operate in tension with emotion, and that systems designed to protect the collective may sometimes feel cold or unyielding on an individual level. Fourth lesson: reputation and legacy. Our complex Big U's life exemplifies the complex duality of human legacy. On one hand, he is alleged to have been involved in severe criminal activities, including gang leadership, racketeering, and even murder. On the other, he is known for mentoring talented artists like Nipsey Hussle, raising a professional NFL player, and contributing to his community through various initiatives. This duality reminds us that people cannot be reduced to a single label. A person can be both destructive and nurturing, criminally accused and yet capable of positive influence. It's a lesson in nuance, urging us not to oversimplify human behavior and to recognize that legacies are rarely entirely good or entirely bad. They are often complicated, layered, and filled with contradictions. Fifth lesson: grief impacts everyone differently. The way grief manifests is uniquely personal, and the Henley family provides a vivid example. Diane Henley, Big U's other son and an NFL linebacker, demonstrated an extraordinary form of resilience. Just hours after learning of his brother's death, he stepped onto the field and performed at the highest level, then emotionally broke down during a public tribute. This teaches us that grief is not uniform. Some channel it into action, some into reflection, and some into public expression. There is no right way to process loss. Understanding that people grieve differently can foster empathy and patience in our own relationships, and it reminds us that resilience does not equate to the absence of pain. Sixth lesson, public scrutiny intensifies private pain. Another lesson comes from observing how tragedy unfolds in the public eye. The Henley family story was not just a private matter. It became a subject of widespread media coverage, social media debate, and public commentary. When grief is scrutinized and dissected publicly, the pain multiplies. This teaches us about the heavy burden of living life under public judgment and about the responsibility we all carry when engaging with public stories. Criticism and judgment can worsen already profound suffering. It's a reminder to approach the stories of others with empathy, humility, and restraint. Seventh lesson, redemption and human dignity remain core values. Even amidst allegations of serious wrongdoing, Big U's attorneys emphasized his right to honor his religious and cultural obligations, highlighting the importance of human dignity. This is a lesson in the enduring value of personal ethics and morality, even when a person's past or present actions are controversial. No matter the mistakes a person has made, the desire to act with dignity, to honor family, and to adhere to deeply held beliefs reflects a core aspect of humanity. This teaches us that redemption, or at least striving to maintain human decency, is always possible, even under challenging circumstances. Eighth lesson, the interplay between culture, faith, and law. Jabari Henley's Islamic funeral rites provide an example of how cultural and religious practices intersect with legal systems. In Islam, burial often happens quickly, which created urgency for Big U's request. The court's denial and the offer of remote video access demonstrate the challenge of honoring faith while adhering to legal restrictions. The lesson here is that cultural awareness and religious sensitivity are vital in navigating complex human situations. It reminds us that law is not always fully equipped to address spiritual needs, but compromise and creative solutions can sometimes bridge the gap. Ninth lesson, violence leaves ripple effects. The story highlights that violence rarely exists in isolation. Jabari's death was not only a personal tragedy, but a moment that reverberated through the Henley family, the South Los Angeles community, and beyond. Even if an act of violence is targeted, the consequences often extend far beyond the immediate individuals involved. This is a lesson in accountability, in understanding the broader consequences of violence, and in recognizing that every act has the potential to deeply affect multiple lives. It also underscores the urgency of creating safer communities to prevent such cycles of loss. 10th lesson, reflection for the broader community. Finally, Big U's story serves as a cautionary tale for all of us. It illustrates how choices, environment, affiliations, and community ties can shape the trajectory of a life and a family. Yet it also reminds us of resilience, love, and the human capacity to endure profound grief. The broader lesson is that life is rarely simple or straightforward. People live in complexity, with intertwined struggles, strengths, and failings. Awareness of this complexity can make us more empathetic, reflective, and conscientious in our own lives. My final thought. The story of Eugene Big U Henley and his son Jabari Baby Wee is deeply tragic, but it is also profoundly instructive. It is a narrative that forces us to confront the consequences of choices, the nature of grief, and the complexity of human morality. It reminds us that life does not offer clean, simple narratives, and that even amidst mistakes or controversy, there exists the possibility for love, resilience, and dignity. Big U's inability to attend his son's funeral reflects the harsh realities of accountability, yet the story also highlights enduring family bonds, faith, and personal perseverance. While headlines focus on crime, accusation, and sensationalism, The human truths beneath the surface are universal: grief, loss, struggle, and the relentless hope for redemption. Ultimately, this story encourages reflection on our own lives, the choices we make, the legacy we leave, and the care we extend to those around us. It teaches that life is complex, consequences are far-reaching, and that even in tragedy, there are lessons that can guide us toward greater empathy, responsibility, and humanity.